hello, Rhode Island. I wish that I was there with you for a few reasons. One is that Rhode Island, and Providence in particular, is one of my favorite cities in the world, and now that my daughter has graduated from college there, I have less excuse to go. But I wish to heck I will get down there before long, if for nothing else, some good meals. The thought of getting back to Los Andes for some good Bolivian, Peruvian food makes me very happy just to sit here and think about it. The second reason I'd like to be there is I'm excited by those windmills that have gone in off Block Island. That's a big thing. Look, Europe has tens of thousands of these things, I get that. But in the US, people have fought them with the most irresponsible rhetoric, and I'm really glad to see Rhode Island stepping up and showing big leadership here. They may call it little Rhodey, but for wind power, it's punching way above its weight. Thank you. The third reason I'd like to be there is to say public thanks to Sheldon Whitehouse, who has emerged as really just the most indefatigable leader, maybe with my Vermont neighbor, Senator Sanders, around these questions of climate change, and his relentless Friday dialogues on the floor of the Senate about climate change are adding up. His great advocacy for those public officials who are standing up to Exxon, that's remarkable. He's a remarkable leader, and there are moments when I hope that his last name turns out to be a key to his and our future, but that's for another day. Today, let's talk about what's going on the planet. I wish I had some great news for you. 2016 has been a tough year. We've seen month after month set new records for temperature. We saw July set the record not only for the hottest month we've ever measured on this planet, so going back to 1880, but the scientists who study these things think it was almost certainly the hottest month in the history of human civilization. So we've lived through history, tough history. We've seen it result in enormous outbreaks of drought and flood all over the world in our own country. This summer simultaneously we had 80,000 people evacuated from the hills above Los Angeles because of wildfire, and 80,000 people evacuated from floods in Louisiana. You didn't need a hurricane in Louisiana anymore, you just need a big rainstorm, and that warm air holds so much water vapor that it's astonishing. And we know that the long term, or even the medium term, really even the short term, is pretty grim too. The sea level is rising so much faster than we thought it was going to, and it requires especially those who live along the coast to begin planning in the biggest possible ways. And the question is, planning for what? What kind of transition? 5 or 10 years ago, we thought that transition was going to go sort of from coal to natural gas, which would be a bridge fuel, and on to renewables. And now, sadly, we realize we can't do that in good faith, because natural gas turns out not to work that way as a bridge fuel. A, it still produces a lot of carbon dioxide, though less than coal. B, it also produces huge amounts of methane as we've begun fracking America and damaging people's homes and lives in the process. We've also seen a huge plume of methane leaking out into the atmosphere, and methane's an even more powerful greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. So there's reason to think that it's at least possible that our greenhouse gas emissions haven't gone down at all during the Obama years. They may even have gone up, but at the very least they've gone down much less than we thought because of all that methane. Natural gas turned out to be a dead end, not a bridge to the future, but a kind of rickety pier built out further into the lake of hydrocarbons. So we've got to make the transition to renewables now and fast. We have to forget about bridges and make that leap. The good news is the distance we have to leap is much shorter than we thought, because the engineers have done such a good job with renewable technology. In the last 10 years, the price of solar panels dropped 80%. There's not an economic statistic on our planet more important than that. What it means is that we now have the chance, the outside chance, but the chance of getting ahead of the physics of climate change. It would require a serious mobilization, a huge effort. I wrote a piece for the New Republic this summer looking at what a World War II style mobilization around climate change would look like. And what it would look like is, well, what's gone on in Denmark, where they're getting 49% of their power from the wind. Either that's because Denmark has figured out some way to put a corner on the world's wind supply, or it's because they've gotten down to work. They've really mobilized to take advantage of what the technology allows. I think it's the latter. I think we're going to need really powerful leadership in order to help us, as FDR helped us once upon a time. Take those steps in the right direction. Take them fast, take them at scale. The question is not, are we going to do this? Everyone knows that 75 years from now, we'll power our planet with sun and wind. The question is, are we going to do it in time to be able to slow down climate change? And that is a very open question, and maybe the most important question that humans have ever faced. So I'm glad that you guys are facing it there today in Providence. I'm glad that even if it's only a few turbines, Rhode Island has at least demonstrated that it's possible and given us something to build on and build on fast. And I am so grateful to Senator Whitehouse, to everybody else for the work that they have done in recent years. I don't know if we're going to win this climate fight. I wrote the first book about it all back in 1989. The cheerful title of that book was The End of Nature, and I fear that not much has happened since to make me want to change the title. We're in a very deep corner, a very deep hole. But the first rule of holes is stop digging for coal, for oil, for gas, and start instead taking advantage of all that free power coming from above, from the sun and the wind that we've been wasting for so long, but no more. Thank you all very much.